Hey, welcome everybody. This is XO Joe. Thank you for joining me tonight. Just getting started here on Monday night. I really appreciate everybody coming over here live, checking on the recording later over on YouTube. A very special guest tonight. Big Kurkowski is going to join me. He's here right now. Looking forward to just hanging out, getting to know where Big K came from. I got a chance to go out to Las Vegas recently and meet a bunch of Hexicans. I got to meet Big K while I was out there, and just like you can imagine, he's a great guy, a sweetheart, somebody you love to hang out with and have a good time. He was gracious enough to have us all over for a party that he had for everybody. It was amazing, one of the best times I've ever had. So really looking forward to tonight. And if everybody's new to the channel, Discourse Syndicate, thank you for being here. Please subscribe, like, comment, share on Twitter. And here's the intro. This is Nagabo with Ching Ching.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Stake that heck, stake that heck. 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 Hey, every time I look up, price went up. I go to the store, come back, price went up. Every time I look up, price went up. No matter what I do, price is still going up. Hell yeah. Ching, ching, motherfuckers. Ching, ching. I am not the book. Ching, ching, motherfucker. I just keep hitting jackpot after motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpotting, bitch.
Thank you, Nagabo. Just want to give a quick shout out to Naga. Hope you're feeling better, brother. We met out in Vegas as well. It was really great to see you out there. I hope you're feeling much better. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Balliot Brand, as always, thank you, brother, for joining us. UFO 42, let's talk one-on-one. I'd like to talk more about what we were chatting on Twitter about. Hex Live, thank you for being here. Get him. iBaseline, Austin, Boston, what's going on? David Morales, my brother, how you doing? Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So if you haven't seen this show before, it's Experience, Strength, and Hope. I am XO Joe, Hexican through and through. And the reason I do this show is to help stay sober, help stay sane, to give back to the community. Helps me with, my mental illness, right? That I have, my alcoholism, my drug addiction, to work through those things. I'm a part of a 12-step program, and Experience, Strength, and Hope is a large part of that. So going through this weekly with everybody, having you take the time out of your day to join us, having the guests come on and open up, it's very special for me. It's very important for me. So I just really want to thank everybody. And today my guest is Big Kurkowski. He's an OG Hexican, somebody that I liked immediately when I came on the Hexican scene and saw him on stream on Discourse Syndicate. He's a cutthroat, one of the most relaxed, coolest guys that I've met in life, not just in the Hex space, but somebody that is exactly like what you think on stream is exactly the same way in person. So really, really honored for Big K to join me tonight. It's been a long time coming, so I want to really say thank you. Big K, thank you for joining me, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Thank you for having me. That was a hell of an intro, man. I thought I was wearing orange and brown. Now I got all the red going on in the face. I appreciate it, man. It's it's exactly who I want to be, man. It's nobody else but myself. So like I'm super happy to be able to be here to experience it and share it share it all with you. So
yeah, you got this vibe that you give off, Big K. I say it to you almost every time we talk. I feel like I've known you my entire life. I had to meet you before. We had to hang out before because there's just something there, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I mean, it's strange. I've got you're not the first person that said that to me of my life. Like a lot of times people are like, do we know with each other? You know, I'd be like, no, but it's okay. Like we will, and we'll be cool real soon. You know, like we'll get there. You know, because like I mean that's. I'd like to know, like I love to know more people and be able to affect other people's lives in like positive ways. And like the easiest, simplest way that I can do that is just by like being a positive force, smiling at others, you know, being genuine, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Stop!
What's going on, brother?
Yes. What's going on? Yeah, it's
This is the angel investor, but
Yeah.
capital blind share.
Yeah, he's the other half of my business partner. He's
Nice.
I invest in this guy. I invest in people.
Yeah, just telling the truth.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just seeing where smells my drink here.
I don't think he. I don't
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of my story.
That's Joe. I mean, much for Joe. I love the background.
Yeah. Y'all met in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing, brother?
I love catching up and watching this stuff.
Yeah, you'll get it. I'll
I
send it
know,
over
like,
to you. I
I'm
promise.
around 12 p.m. with your $500 do Common relief by Lyle Williams.
So yeah. Anyways, I mean, long and short of that one is that like I'm out here in the beach house in Hilton Head right now. It's his beach house. Fantastic spot, you know, and a great dude who like, you know, believed in me and, you know, through all those ups and downs. I mean, I'll get into that story, you know, tonight if we have time. But, you know, even when I could tell one of the stories I tell of like hard times for myself is something I've told, I'm sure you've heard on Discourse Syndicate, like my story of mining and how I got into cryptocurrency and how I found Hex. And it was, you know, one of those stories of redemption. And because, you know, I went from, you know, like thinking I knew everything to realizing I knew basically nothing and having to rebuild a lot of my knowledge base, you know, in a new way. And I mean, that cat believed in me throughout all that, you know, like even when I was I was in the same beach house, be it a few years, you know, after 2018 being like, dog, I don't know. Things are looking tough out here in the crypto world. You know, he's like, just keep your ear to the ground, keep learning, keep figuring this out. You know, I'd like, he believed in me, like you said, and you know, sometimes when you're investing, you invest in the product. Sometimes you invest in the person. I think that, you know, if you pay close enough attention to what's going on in Hex, you're kind of doing somewhat of both in a little way. You know, I mean, and I think it's important to at the very least know where whoever built whatever they built that you're getting into, where they came from and who they were. It's kind of it's something that mattered to me, at least going, you know, in the beginning of all this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're all, I know from being somebody who didn't stream and just watched everyone else, there's this magnetic attraction to the community, right? If you're a Hexican, you don't have to ask permission to be called a Hexican from somebody else. You don't say, is it okay? Am I a Hexican yet? You know you're a Hexican. The first time you say it, you say we, you say right? You know, so I got to have this perspective as a viewer, and to join the community as a streamer has been so rewarding, and to find out more about everybody in the community has been just such a blessing for me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So, you know, I'd love to hear, you know, more about your story in mining. I am very familiar with it, but just in case people aren't, I'd also love to hear just a little bit more about who you were even before that, Big K. Just, you know, what were you like when you were just, you know, trying to figure things out as a younger guy, and what, you know, was it your dream come true, or did you struggle to get there? And, you know, I'd love to finish off with some Hex talk and talk some Pulse Chain before we get out too.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, I've had so many. I have like, if you go read my Twitter profile, like I say it straight up. Like I'm super blessed, super lucky. You know, I know that like life is. I'm the kind of kid who trips over a $20 bill. You know, that was me growing up. I don't know why. You know, I don't know why the world did this to me. But like I have always had a fantastic. You know, the world's treated me well, and I've done my very best to try and give it back. You know, and I grew up. I grew up in Chicago as a as a kid in I'm 34 now, so in the mid 80s. And my mom had me pretty young and was like unexpected. And you know, the thing to do when you're growing up in Chicago in the mid 80s and you're in your 20s, because she was about 20 when she had me, was go to Grateful Dead shows. You know, so like that was where. You know, so she wasn't going to not live her, if she was going to have a, you know, go through with having me, she was also going to still go through with her 20s. And she did, you know, and it coalesced a unique group around her of people that like supported her decision to have a kid at such a young age, but also still wanted to like have a good time and be like a you know, a social structured, you know, group. And that was evident because we did a lot of fun stuff. I mean, I was from 0 to 10. I saw tons of shows, and like didn't fully appreciate it at the time. It was like that movie Almost Famous when Zooey Deschanel was like, someday you'll be cool. Like that was like, I didn't at the time. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to be like I want to be playing soccer and video games with my friends. But like,
right.
I really like looking back. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a huge part of who I am and like why I walked the path that I did, and I like in that there's a lot of things that are mostly sheltered from a lot of kids out there, I like especially drugs and alcohol, which is a prevalent thing especially the dead shows, that's like was part of the environment, and
for sure. Yeah.
There's lots of ways you can take it in and give it out to kids and explain it to the youth, and like I was regularly shown the truth behind it and been like, because I mean, it was obvious as clear as day on a nightly basis. One of my mom's friends or my mom you could point to one of a bunch of people that are overindulging, in whatever way, there's whether it be alcohol or psychedelics or whatever there is out there. And like the reality of, hey, do you want to look like that when you're older? Do you want to be like that? Like the understanding of the balance of who you are and how you look to the world is an important piece. And like, I mean, a lot of people go to those events and act that way because they think that they're like super anonymous, and like that's that like the fact that all those things like hit on my mind and are registered there for me shows that not only are they not anonymous, but after I worked music festivals for a long time, you realize that like there's almost no anonymity in all that stuff. I go from coast to coast and I see a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
It's the world is smaller than you think it is, and it was important for me to see all that because like as I had my interactions with the world and partying and environments of music festivals, because I worked in that environment after growing up around that for a long time. I'm like super lucky that like I do not have an addictive personality. Like it's just never like I see those that struggle with it and I feel awful for them. I like my heart bleeds for you and anyone else in your situation. And like it just like this is something that is not. I'm super blessed that doesn't affect me in that sort of way. And but it doesn't mean that I can't I can't respect the struggles of those that work extra hard to overcome it. It's impressive. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't personally know it as well as you do, and like I may never, and but I still always want to be able to provide value to those around me that are like that have something to offer. I find that like I'm a silver lining kind of guy. Like I like to a fault. Like I can even break your leg and I'll be like, well, maybe it'll grow back straighter. At least you didn't lose your arm too. Like I'd be like, bro, come on, just understand that this sucks. So like I always want to provide a silver lining to folks out there and like something to look towards. Is like, oh, we can get through this together, even if it really, really sucks. So
and
I guess
this show, like I love that we could touch on everything as far as drugs, alcohol, everything, and just so anybody maybe who hasn't seen this show before, it's not entirely related to drugs and alcohol. So I shouldn't preface it perhaps like that. We do talk about everything, and the reason that I'm such a big proponent of the fellowship, the 12-step program, is because of how much it helped me. And it's in those rooms with men and women that open up about life, right? With Big K, what you and I are about to do right now, get into a real conversation, share some emotions. It ends up really never being about drugs and alcohol, right? It's always like what's the catalyst behind it. So I'm sure that we both have had emotional pain and overcome some obstacles that are unrelated, and some that are related. So I'm really intrigued by your upbringing, because that would seem like I can imagine you didn't appreciate it at the time because you had nothing to compare it to, but it seems like a dream come true on the outside looking in, that what was your teen years like? Were you away from that scene entirely and you came back after?
Kind of ish, not entirely, because I mean, my mom's still like, I can, it's funny because I kind of started to realize that the uniqueness of my upbringing. But at the time, my wife, who like we were just friends in high school, I had moved down to Florida, and I talked about how Chicago was just the coolest thing in the world, because I was like, this place sucks. Chicago's amazing.
I'm from
And
Chicago.
she-
so, no.
Yeah, it's a great spot, man. It's awesome. It's hard to beat, So I talked a big game about it, and she was like, "All right, fine, let's do this." So I had a road trip back up there, and she's a friend of mine that sat behind me in school, and we road tripped up to Chicago with my mom, and that was the worst. Like I wanted to like hang out and smoke weed in my friends' basements and play video games, and she's like, "Oh, what is this cool city going on here?" But I'm like 13 or 14 and didn't know shit from shit, and.
Yeah.
That really isn't the story. The story of it is that on our way home, my mom, some of her friends had tickets to this Bonnaroo thing or whatever. It was like the first one that they ever did, and like they didn't know what it was from whatever. And they're like, "We got a couple extra tickets if you want to, you just got to buy one more for you and the other kids you got going. Let's do this." And I, of course, was like, "My mom wants to go to another one of these fucking hippie things. Here we go, woo!" And I have to do it with this girl who I didn't get along with. It's just I was salty about it the whole time, but when we went, my now wife, but my friend at the time was blown away. She had never seen. She didn't even know that like a counterculture environment like that existed in a period. Let alone was like as open, like that large or that open about just who they were. In like ways that if you haven't ever been to something like that, you're like, whoa, it's a bit of a culture shock.
I haven't. I don't think I've ever. I mean, I've heard a lot about them, but I've never actually been to anything like that.
Yeah, it's a wild time, and I mean, like a bit of openness and freeness that like you can't find anywhere else, basically, in the world, and like that is just like everything else fun, and just like everything else, there's good and bad to that, There's
Got an expiration date. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people find some freedom to be a little bit of who they want to be and maybe find some of themselves, but there's also some people who take it to bad extremes. It's like anything. That's something that being in that environment has taught me is that like you have to be very careful with you have to be very careful with good things and bad things, everything, because they all like it's all about perception. Like a good thing can be a bad thing very quickly if over indulged in, or just overused, or over you can't do too much of anything and have it hit the same, and just like feel like in life at all. You go to the most amazing theme park 100 times and it's just old hat to you. So like finding a way to balance all that is super important, and I think it's it's difficult for a lot of people to do. I'm not saying it's for everybody or anything like that, but being in that environment, that was like the first time that I realized that, like, because I navigated it, like it was just another day and another thing to me. I move faster than everyone through festivals. I know I can like read the scene and know what's going on, before anyone else can, just because I've been around. I've been around it, and so like,
right.
I didn't realize the value in that until I was with somebody so green that they were just like, what is even this exists, and from there I started to like come to find music in that environment that I liked myself, and started to, like I said, found some cats that were doing music festivals. This dude, my good buddy here that owns this place, was actually one of them that was like a part of one of like the most intoxicating music festival to me was this event called Bear Creek that they did. It was like a funk music fest, and like I say that because it had all the trappings of the Hex community. As soon as I went to the first one and I met some of the people that were like making it happen, I realized how much they're into it for the love of the game and for helping other people have a good time. They really felt like endeared to that idea and wanted nothing more than to create an incredible space for people to have these awesome moments and times. And like I really respected that and appreciated that beyond like I didn't even know how much at the time, because once I started doing, like, I was intoxicated by that, started volunteering, started working in that environment, and then built a whole schedule around the country and like was doing this everywhere, and quickly realized that like most promoters and people throwing these events do not have that same love for the game in the same way, so
right. More opportunists. Yeah.
Much more, exactly. And we got to in this little environment that was created, we really got to not only hone our skills, all the people that work these events are some of the best in the industry now, because they're birthed by fire. It's difficult events with, more people, more collaborations than you'd ever expect, and sound guys that have to deal with things that they never had to deal with before, and like all that made all of them better. They were all young at the time, and they're all incredible now because of that. And that sort of like coming of age, group thing was again something that like it's hard. You can go through your life a lot and never find that, and I'm like always been a magnetic person and able to coalesce the group. And then, I'm like the Jerry of the group, where like after I leave, everyone, the Seinfeld, where like you call them all like, hey, you guys hang out, and how's so-and-so doing? They're like, nah, you're not here. None of us hang out anymore, and so I understand what it takes to like bring a group of people together, and like how there's magic in that, and sometimes it's hard to put your finger on, but when you feel it, and that like the Hex community has that, and like it's here, and you can feel it. Like you see people get into that almost immediately. You see the new users coming aboard, like just like, yes, I can't wait to take on more of this and understand it more, so I can be having as much fun as it seems like the rest of us are having.
Yeah, it's exciting. My nephew, he's watching now. He's just getting into Hex. His energy, his excitement is magnetic, like you said. It's not that I'm so far removed from being in his exact shoes not too long ago, but it is just something amazing when you first get into the community and you see what the peers in the community are doing. I am inspired every day. I wake up and I'm pushed because there's somebody that's either a little bit better than me or a lot better than me in every single aspect of everything I want to do. And so I wake up and I go ahead.
And you've been that before too. Like when you came on the scene, you were an energizing force. Like, like I was glad to, like there's several cats along the way that like when they popped up, and started doing content, for whatever reason, we convinced them, or they had the wild hair to do it, or they felt comfortable enough finally to come on screen. That like you could feel that re-energizing all of us that have been streaming previously. And so it is like that self-fulfilling kind of thing where like the more the better. I love that. I love getting somebody else involved and watching the puzzle pieces fall onto line and then start to click.
Yeah, it makes me think of Markable, right? Markable came on the scene, and like I didn't have him figured out right away, and he was dry, his humor, and I liked him right away, but like now I really like him, and it's just to see his motivation, his drive, and what he does selflessly to help others, keep pushing himself to learn new things. Like it's really invigorating. It's really cool. Like I never knew. We don't know who the next person is to pop up. So at any given moment, we're going to meet someone new in the community, and either maybe we don't ever see him again, or they become somebody that continues to inspire us. So it's just amazing to see in those people's eyes what I have felt, and now I'm kind of like you growing up in the music scene. It's like when you live in this every single day, we have our good days and our bad days. It's not just everything but exciting anymore. When you're first getting in, though, it's like there's so much information, so much to learn. Everybody's so positive. That's the best part of the community is the positivity, and we can all annihilate people. We're all very good arguers. We have a great person that provides us information. I was watching some old Richard Hart videos today from 2017, which I haven't done a lot. I've only seen a few of them, and I'm just blown away by his patience, his persona. He's so calm, and now he's battle
hardened.
Thank you. Yeah.
He's it's true, and you get and the more you watch him, the more you see that he's like he's thoughtful in each of those moments. Like he's making sure that the words that he chooses are correct for the situation, and the information that he's bringing. And then you watch him when he's crushing a hater. He's doing so with sound, logical reasoning. This is it's structured in a way that not only he's not just talking to that person, he's also trying to talk to mostly everyone else paying attention to that with with a specific way of making sure that everyone understands exactly what he's saying, even if this dude doesn't, it's not the point, I can appreciate it because you can watch stuff from, even when he has changed his belief on some things, those videos are still useful and good views to watch.
Even better so, because then you can see what he used to think, and now things are different. So it's exactly that. I just it's amazing that I've been consuming as much content as I have over the last year, and I'm still able to find this new thing that's like just exciting to me. Like I can't wait to get back to watching more of 2017 Richard Hart videos, because there's each one of them is just like, I don't mean to praise the man so much, but I can't help it. It's just, I don't know. I hear the scam word so much coming into Hex, right? And then I see what people think of him, and he has to defend himself all the time. I start to think, well, he's maybe half this person. Maybe he does have to defend that. And then I see where he came from and what he used to do with his time and what was important to him. And it gives me a whole new level of understanding and respect for the amount of integrity and character the man has, and honesty. It's refreshing. So we'll get off, the propaganda soapbox to sell Richard Hart to everybody. Everybody here loves him.
Well, and it's something that I've been trying to be, like, when you talk about me being a genuine person and me not being any different, that like here versus in person, like, there's intention. Sometimes I can be loud and excited about something or aggressive about something, and sometimes I can back up. We're all kind of different, but I'm still trying to be a genuine person and like give good information to people, and in the way that I think that he is too. I think that he does it with specific directed intention, like I don't think that he's like, that like he knows how to do it for the camera. He knows what the people want. He's talking about, here's these people love the drama. Here's the drama. Here you guys go, But he's also being realistic and being like, I don't, like, this isn't actually what we need to be doing. Same thing with the watches. He's like, this isn't actually, this is silly,
right.
And that, because he wants you to understand that like, he is a real person and has all those feelings and really does care about what he's trying to get done. He's like, and mostly that's helping other people. There's a few things that you can really suss out that are common themes and threads that he will get on regularly, and that's that healing other people is the highest form of what you can do in this world. It's one of the greatest things that you could possibly be doing with your time, and like that ruminates, way past just that moment, so like seeing him and whatever intention he has, whether crushing a hater or dropping knowledge. I mean, he's giving that evergreen material and leaving it up there for somebody to be helped at a later point in time and hopefully be healed and hopefully learn something and get some good value out of it. So I mean,
that's why I'm doing this show. Big K is, that's why. Well, my hope is that someday somebody will be sitting there hopeless and be nowhere to turn but their cell phone with YouTube and happen to click on this video, and or just any one of the Hexagon videos. But really, I mean, that's what helped save me is exactly that stuff. I wasn't going back to 2017, 2018 when I first found Richard and Hex, but I found myself many nights, not knowing what to do, that I turned to his videos and I bettered myself, and just really thank God. Like for me, it's miraculous. I'd love to get back to you though and hear more of your story, because we all do have such miraculous stories and how we got here. That I don't want to take too much more time. Everybody's heard my story, so if we can get back to after you found Bonnaroo and before you found Hex, the time, if you take us through that.
So I mean, this is like pre-college, so I did a whole bunch of stuff in between, from 13 onwards. But as a kid, I played a lot of hockey. I loved playing hockey. I was a ruthlessly large gentleman. I was like this size when I was in like 7th grade. It was very relatively unfair for the opposing competition.
Yeah, I was the same way. I played hockey also.
Yeah, it was great.
Used to drive kids through the boards like half our size.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, parents would be asking for my birth certificate on the regular. They'd be like, I don't believe this, But I mean, so like I mean, and that does tell a piece about me, because like, I mean, as a youthful in that time, I was like an aggressive young teenager. And I mean, whether it was getting into fights or whether it was whatever it was, you know, like I did that stuff. I grew up, like I said, I was growing up in Chicago with a bunch of dudes that were friends that were all pretty aggressive and pretty, you know, angry about, I don't even know what, I don't know. Is that what you do at 12 or 13?
Yeah.
14? I guess,
Yeah,
you know,
I think so.
because like looking back, I'm just like, I don't know why we broke those things or punched those people. And like, and like now I wouldn't do that. No, I don't want to have any part of that, you know?
Yeah. Different people for sure. We were.
Oh, for sure. And that's something that I'm like, you know, I mean, and I've done my very best through my life to fight, you know, like if I don't ever want, like wonderful wife and family, and I never want them to ever see the aggressive side of me that like I know somewhere is in there. Like I was that angry person, you know, at some point in my life. I never want to bring that out, you know. So like this may be some of my positivity, like an attempt at overcompensation to make sure I don't ever find myself, you know, because it's like those mindset of like I'm a person that doesn't really like the word hate, because like by definition it means to like wish evil upon someone, and like I don't wish evil upon anybody or anything at all, you know. And to like have those feelings in your mind, it just eats at you, not at them. They go to sleep, they forget about you, whatever, you know, but it eats at you, you know. And so like by doing my very best to let all that go, you know, like that's why I try and stay positive and like even at the worst of stuff, you know, because I know that like how you mentally, you know, the morale matters. It matters in a platoon. It matters in a group of friends getting along. You know, it matters in anything. You know, and I'm a big fan of pushing good morale, and so like that's why I think that, you know, that's part of why I was angry, is because we all were frustrated at whatever things we couldn't do or didn't have or whatever, you know, that like caused us to act out. And if I had potentially better morale and better morale builders at that age in my life, I probably wouldn't have been as aggressive as I was, you know. So that's one of those things that I really try my best to give back out. But that, and by the time I had gone through high school, it was mostly gone. Like I haven't been in a fight in, I don't know, 20, you know, like years and years and years, you know, like that's just not me anymore. But it definitely did take some time to like, I mean, to work through how to properly release
Express
that anger,
in
ways that weren't actually going to hurt me or my things, or you know, that's, you know, I don't want to do that stuff, you know. So it's you know, it's struggle. It's, like that's a struggle that I have regularly. I mean, if like in the sense that like if I am getting frustrated or if I'm overtired or hungry, like I mean, there's a part of me that wants to get angry and throw something or whatever, you know, and you know, being a positive person and being like, oh man, it's chill, like whatever, you know, it does help me out a lot, you know. It does. I have to pull myself back in and find a silver lining that like might seem insanely ridiculous, you know, but it does help a lot. But yeah, so that's like, you know, definitely part of like what helped me to be a less angry person as I was growing up, you know. What other fun like things that we get into? Oh, so I guess after like that middle school period of like, you know, angry youth time, I like got into college and started my degree and it was like a math degree. So I was like, I spent
that's right,
several years doing math.
What's it called? You know, what's the degree in? It's a mathematics.
It's funny, they call it a bachelor in arts actually, which is, you know, you think it's a sciences, but like it's actually a bachelor of arts. Oh, and then with a minor in biomedical physics, which sounds really cool, but it was like just easy for me to finish the credits.
Yeah.
But like the math, but math was like what really, but like came to me early on when I was much younger, and like just one of these things. Yeah. And like one of those things that like spoke to me. I had a teacher who at one point in time told me, he was like, man, you understand this stuff? And I was like, yeah, it's basically the only, like everything else comes to me super easy, and math was actually like a struggle. There was something that I had to work really extra hard to comprehend. I could like pass a test on anything, you know, but like I couldn't pass a test on math unless I studied, unless I did the work and put in the time, you know. So like that really helped, like, that meant like drove me and challenged me, and like that was something that definitely was like and there wasn't that much that did, and so that was why I chose that path. And well, I don't actually I guess I do use it a lot now in crypto. Like once I got out of my degree, like that wasn't what I wanted to go into. Most of the companies that were like interested in me as a math major were like your Lockheed Martins and your Jabil's and Honeywells and stuff like that, which like most of them, what they're doing honestly is they're defense companies building, all my math would be, running the numbers on bombs killing people or guns killing, like the things that I'm not really that into personally, so it was a struggle, but like I chose to take a different path with my degree afterwards, and went into project management, which was like a lot less paying, didn't pay nearly as well what I was doing, but like it didn't matter. I felt like a way better person. I could sleep at night better, and I mean
that's important.
Mm-hmm. That was a huge part of like why I did what I did. And then when I got there, I realized that maybe like wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but it was like what I actually needed at the end of it all, because like the logic and structure that I got from all that is like, I mean, I can understand this market a lot better than I think I would have ever been able to if I couldn't run numbers like I do.
Math is pretty much involved in everything.
Yeah, my friend over here would like to let you know that math is involved in everything, which is true. It's like it's by definition like a way to describe the physical world, and so like
it's not like 200-year-old art history involved.
Bros. Thank you.
I don't want to get involved. I just want to come here and stuff like
So anyways, the long and short of it is I did a math degree, and like I really appreciated that side of things, and it really helped me to get to the place where when I started to get like understand the crypto thing, which is really just by the magic of video gaming, because I was a gamer and like had a graphics card and randomly stumbled across mining Monero, and that was definitely like something that really got me into the whole crypto thing. I didn't know about Bitcoin, I didn't know any of that shit. And like I just started messing with the cards, and started running graphics cards and building up machines. And once I could run the numbers on things and understand them, because like when you do a math degree, you do some programming classes. So like I'm not amazing at reading code, but I could get understand what's going on here, set up nodes and run nodes, all that kind of shit I was doing. And I was trying to figure out what was of value in this industry, and made a lot of a lot of right calls and learned a lot, but also made a lot of wrong calls, and and because just because Richard talks about it, like if just because you're an economist doesn't mean you're going to actually understand, like you're going to make a bunch of money. They oftentimes don't actually, and they don't get things. So like just as a math person, I thought like, oh, I get numbers and there's a lot of these here, so I should be very good at this. And I wasn't, I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was. And mostly it was a struggle and a painful experience to learn that, a lot of people in this world are, especially in that industry, are looking to just take your money. They're looking to get one over on you. Hey, hang on a second, y'all.
How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining us. We got a big chat going on. I apologize, I haven't been watching it. So thank you everybody for being here. If anyone has any questions, we're going to be talking for about another half hour, maybe 45 minutes with Big K before we get into some hex specific talk, some pulse chain sacrifice talk, maybe even get into some strategy. No, I'm just kidding. We're not allowed to talk strategy anymore. So
all right, we're not allowed to talk strategy anymore? Come on. Why not?
No, I'm just fooling around.
Who put the nix on that? We're almost done with that. So that'll be fun stuff later on.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean the debate, the struggle that I was bringing up earlier that really does that matters in all of this for me was the truth of that mining and learning, thinking I knew a lot, thinking I understood everything, putting out the numbers and being like, I got this, I'm going to make money doing this, and scaling up into a bigger, facility, larger machines, all the rest that I did, and eating it hard and finding the bottom really quickly was a super painful experience.
What years was this?
So 2018, when that crashed, because like I started mining in 2016, and like I was mining Monero at $3 a coin, and it went up to 30, and I was like, yes, I'm a genius, and sold it all, and then it went to 360, and I was like, I'm an idiot, like that.
So did you find Monero before you knew what Bitcoin was?
Yeah. I guess I'd offhandedly heard of Bitcoin, but I didn't actually know it or get into it or bother with it at all. I found Monero first, and it like the whole privacy and anonymity thing was spoke to me. So that was really what I got into. And it wasn't until I made an exchange account on Poloniex to be able to trade and sell my Monero that I even realized that there was all this other shit going on. Like I didn't at all. I was just like Monero, and then I was like, oh, I can sell this for money. Where can I sell it for money? And then I went on with, like I said, Poloniex at the time, and found out that I was like, there's this Bitcoin shit, this Bytecoin shit. There's like 50 different currencies on here that I had never heard about, and mostly they were just ticker symbols to me. It wasn't like I had it wasn't until a little bit later that I started to really delve pretty deep into understanding every single one of them. I mean, it was a long time later actually, because like I only chased what I knew for a while, and only like did numbers on and tried to build a business based on what I knew. And what I knew wasn't as much as I thought.
Could you tell us a specific story? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like basically, the story starts with me blocking Richard. I mean, like I blocked him on Twitter because like I didn't like what he had to say. I believe in everything that Roger Ver was spinning on Bitcoin Cash, and Richard was very clear on what he thought about that, and like I heard it and I didn't like it, and I was just like, screw this guy and his attitude, block, and like that was that, and I went through that was in when the fork happened, so mid 2017, and I proceeded to from then on lose a lot, like ate shit for a solid year, and it wasn't until I had basically spent all of the money that I had and was allotted to build the business, thank you, that I started to come to this like realization. I mean, yeah, my buddy over here was the one that like believed in me and was like, dude, you like, I'm believing in you. I'm investing in you as a person. Right. Like his belief and faith in me was what helped me to get to a place where I could like break down my ego. Cause at that point in time, I was like, oh, I clearly am wrong. And I was like, I'm sorry here. Like this didn't work out the way we wanted it to. And when I had the faith to like, hey, listen, you're not wrong. You're just not right yet, and that yeah.
It's like quality investment. They invest in people, not.
Yeah. Oh, I get it, dude. That's what I get it. And he said it's 100%. You invest in people, and he was smart to do that because I did keep what I started doing at that point in time because I realized I had to change something. And he was like, you got to open your eyes to what else going on in this market. I started to unblock some people, and one I can remember unblocking Richard because like on my Twitter feed, like this little clip popped up right after that from him saying he was just like somebody had clipped it and put it on there that said like, if you don't understand what all the top 10 cryptocurrencies are doing on the list and what they offer their market and why the people will pay money for them, then you have absolutely no business talking to anybody about this field whatsoever. And I was like, oh shit, I don't know like what 4 of these coins do at all. I just
yeah,
like it was and from there it was one painful like realization after another. He'd say something else and I was like, oh, he's so right. Oh, ooh, he's right. And then it was like I could make the connections for him being right and me losing money and me being like, oh, if I was paying attention to that, I wouldn't have done this. If I had heard that before from anybody in this market, I probably wouldn't have done that. Like most people in crypto were not looking to tell me what I needed to know. They're looking to squeeze what dollars I had out of me. That's what I had figured out. Yeah. Like Richard is not, he said you can't give the man money. You can't, there's no way to do that. He's not, you don't even know where he lives. And like the reason for that is because, he's not monetizing anything. All that is because it makes it a more honest opinion, like he's not trying to fleece you.
Yeah. It's a night and day difference. If someone's, somebody else's foot in your bill and you're going to walk that line, for sure.
Yep. Yep. 100%. And so like that is what really got me to start to make the change. And then once I made that change and like started to listen to Richard, well, then he spoke of a project. I started, and I've been in the Hex chat room, since well before I launched, paying very, very close attention to it, saving what I could get, liquidating what extra equipment that I had to put myself in a good position for the launch. But like, yeah, that ego break that I had to go through was super painful, as a math person, I have to overcome this ego that I have, because I think that I'm right, even though I don't have necessarily all the evidence there for it. It just like comes with being like I said, I could, when I was growing up, I could guess.
I must be a math person then. That must explain it.
I mean, everybody's like math people I find are like, they have an arrogancy to them because they do something that most people, when I'm like, I'm a math major, they're like, oh, I don't understand that. And like, and they're like, well, you could if you wanted to work at it. And you get this like whole arrogant like loop in your mind. And like, I've worked really hard to not be that way. And I mean, sometimes, full disclosure, I will come off super arrogant in when I'm saying things to people, or like condescending, I guess is the proper term, like just super condescending. And I'm not trying to be. I'm just like, in my mind, my mind goes to this place where I do logic and I treat myself like a child. I'm like, well, Jeff, this is what you have and this is where you're going. This is what you've got and this is what you want. And like when I say that, when I talk like that to people, they don't.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
People don't respond well to that, So like, and me in my mind, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing them a great service by treating them exactly how I treat myself. But I guess that like I said, that comes off super condescending sometimes, and so I work real hard to overcome that.
My friend Hex Live says you and I would get along great. We do the same thing for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because like I do find that now I want to like, it's more important to reach people than it is to be right in the moment. So like I don't like being right in the moment is cool. Like when you're against, like when you're fighting with somebody or arguing with somebody about something, sure, I'd love to be right in the moment, but I'd rather leave enough of the puzzle pieces on the table for them so that like later on they can click them together themselves and be like, oh, holy moly, that's, and get it themselves. It's more important to like affect them and get them to, whether it be today, tomorrow, or next month, to get them to look at things with a different perspective than it is to like have them at the moment be like, okay, you're right, fine. Like that doesn't act like, most of the time that doesn't actually change someone's mind. It's not like they're
just exhausted them.
Exactly. And that's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you anymore, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. You know it all, and that's not what you want, I got to work against that.
Yeah. Well, I think you do a great job. I don't know you that well, Big K, but you certainly I don't get that vibe from you at all. So you do a great job working on it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of where I came from. And like some of the hardships on like my Hex journey was like, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of other hardships in my life. And like I said, I thought that was a good one to bring up and share, because like, sure, I've been in the music scene a long time. I've been around all that along, like, drugs and partying and all that stuff, and can bring up stories of people that have, and things that have happened that have affected me and how ways that I've had to deal with all that. But I don't find that that's like, I'd be glad to talk about that more some other time. But I think that like people understanding that like one of the biggest things that like changed me was having to break down my ego and like realize that I didn't know it all, and like it doesn't matter what way you learn that. Like you said, I don't have an addictive personality, so to say. So like finding that in like hitting rock bottom kind of build you back up, I haven't seen that in my own life, and except for me hitting the rock bottom of like my dollars and my ego and my friends' dollars and like everything along the way.
That's it.
That,
yeah,
and that was the hardest shit for me to like. And like it made me work harder than ever to put everybody in a better position. And now I can like I've got tons of friends who are super stoked about the position that we're all in right now. I mean, That's been super worth it. And I'm not sure I would have been able to reach as many people as I was if I didn't have that, if I didn't experience that time of like, you know, an ego check, you know.
Yeah. I have a specific question for you, Big K.
Sure.
After doing a stream with Nerd Girl, we talked about different aspects of a cult, right? She was teaching me and everybody a little bit about tribalism, what the 3 parameters on being a cult is. And she asked me, you know, 2 out of the 3 were very fitting for me and for Hex to perhaps describe it as that. And then the 3rd one, it just didn't fit, I didn't think. But her question was, you know, Joe, when you found Hex, were you at a crossroads? And so it kind of just got me thinking, yes, I certainly was, because I almost always am in my life. And so for somebody like me that's as conflicted as I normally am, I'm basically living on the edge of a crossroads. So I'm just curious, you know, when you found Hex or Richard Hart, were you in a crossroads?
Yeah, that was definitely a crossroad moment for me, because I mean, like, and it was Richard, really, not Hex, because like I found him like solidly a year before like the project launched. It was probably like January of 2019, February 2019, when I started to like really started to, you know, just pour over all the material, you know. And that, so like that, like then I once I was realized that my ego had come down to realize, oh, there's all these things about this market that I don't understand. Then I was accepting of like, hey, I have this other project that's going to be awesome, you know. So yeah, that's what definitely, like, it definitely was a crossroad moment for sure. And then you know, the build up for that was fantastic, because there was something to offer. You know, he was like, yeah, I get all, like, you know.
Can you talk more about unblocking everyone then, and how you opened up? Like, what were the next steps as far as becoming a Hexagon? How did you go from unblocking Richard to that?
Learning. I mean, like learning that, like, it was learning and understanding slowly. Really, honestly, it was that, like, at the time I was full-time. I was doing like full-time crypto, full-time mining, you know. So I was like mining, using these mining machines, you know, and like that was all I was doing. But like, it also was mostly, I was burning the candle at both ends, both financially and physically. And like, so it, like, I went back to work, you know, like I went back and found a job with my project management skills and worked installing cameras on railroads. It was a cool job, you know, and I like quickly worked my way up and was project man, like basically leading the whole crew of guys doing the installs. But like, I was still listening to Richard and still doing some like mining offhandedly, but like the amount of that had lessened, and the more I had focused on, like, I needed fresh capital, you know, fiat, to be able to put into what was coming, you know, and so like I needed to take what was, like I said, a giant ego check, not just like, because at the time, you know, for 3 years before that or 2, when I was funded and building mining facilities, I was like, this is, crypto's the thing, super cool guy, build my own schedule, do whatever I want. And like, that was quickly like, no, that's not actually a reality. And I read about that same time I had my daughter, and so like, it was imperative, you know. My wife's like, yo, this fun crypto thing is cool, but like, you know, and she used to have this line that was hilarious. She'd always tell me, she'd say, tell me when we're rich. I'd like start to go off on about crypto and this blah, blah, blah. And then the coins, this and that. She'd, that's nice, honey. Tell me when we're rich. Just tell me when we're rich. You know, and I was like, not there yet. You know, and so like, and the worse it got, you know, when it didn't go the right way, it was like, oh, not only is it not there, but like, she's like, well, tell me when my daughter has a fucking future, you know. And you're like, okay, you know, like, okay, you know. So then that you know, it was again a moment where I had to be like, oh, I need to make that in more ways than one. So like, I had to, like I said, go back to work in a not normal 9-to-5 position, which was more than 9-to-5 position, and all this travel involved, and it took me away from my family, you know, for a while, like when she was like a brand new baby for a bunch, you know, and that was tough, you know. That was like, but necessary and worth it, because I was able to build up enough of a stack to like make a decent dent in things, you know. So yeah, so yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's like, you know, and that's like, that was the hardest part of all of it, you know. That was really super tough, you know. So like, I mean, because I thought, like I said, I thought that I had it all figured out, you know. I thought that I had it all figured out, and like going back to someone, like to work for somebody else who, like, I didn't even think he had it all figured out, you know, but I had to be there. I had to do the thing for the stuff, you know. It was entirely necessary and you know, just like any situation where you bust yourself down and get back to some wax on, wax off, Danielson, you know, kind of stuff, you know, like that's super crucial because like a little bit of physical labor and manual labor and stuff can clear your mind and put you in a good place to where you can see the world for a different perspective. I mean, like, and that helped me a lot to realize like what my value was. And I realized, you know, and actually that I could accomplish more with that, you know. So like I still was working at like at that point in time a lot of different things, the mining thing, and realizing that was not actually the answer, while still, you know, working at a camera, the camera thing. Well, I realized that also wasn't exactly my answer. It was temporarily, you know.
Right.
But that gave me the skills, you know. And once I realized the time was right to make the move, like when Hex came out and was released, I did the, you know, I still didn't, I worked, you know, all the way up until December of what, this past year, you know. It's like I stayed working and stayed, you know, even though things were going well for Hex and everything else, like I stayed making sure to like cover myself, cover my family stuff, you know, make sure that like, you know, the things that I needed in life were good, even if, you know, maybe this thing was going to go the right way, they're still important. And like, I like I said, I don't think I was that I don't think I was humble enough earlier on to be able to do that, you know. And so yeah, that was I guess the transitional, you know, my Crossroads thing where I had to really, you know, had to dig deep to get myself into a good spot. And like, I mean, now I say I stopped working in December, but like I still am you know, now there's all these other fun projects and cool things
right.
that we're getting involved with the community to like coalesce this thing that like, okay, now this is actually a ball that we can run with like all the way to the end zone and then some, you know. So like I'm super happy to have been able to like foster that through at the beginning of you know, the project launching. But like now, you know, like, you know, to like reap the benefits of it all going properly is amazing, you know. And I don't really plan on stopping either. Like I was at the dentist the other day, and like the guy in the chair that came in behind me, the guy in the chair that came in behind me, the dentist is doing the same thing that he always does, where he's like, oh, who are you? What do you do? Da da da. He's just done with me. The guy after me was like, he's like, what do you do? And the guy's like, absolutely nothing. And the dentist is like, huh, really? And he's like, yep, I don't do nothing. You know, I sit around and watch TV and I drink drinks on the beach. And I was just like there's a part of me that like laughed, and there's a part of me that like felt like grossed out in the sense that like I know that like I'm stoked for him to be able to do that with his life because that's what he wants to do. But like I could never ever do that. Like I couldn't. I just am not the kind of person that could stop and just absolutely do nothing and like not work at all and not provide value to the world. It's like I do feel like I have something to offer to others, and like whether it be perspective or knowledge or whatever they're looking for, a good attitude and a smile. Like I feel like I have something to offer, and I'm doing the whole, like if I'm not offering it, then I'm doing the whole world a disservice and myself too. You know, so like I can't. I'm a shark, man. I got to keep swimming.
Yeah. It's funny. We share so many of the same experiences, even most recently before Hex, with working a more physically demanding job. And, you know, it didn't make me the man I am. It helped break me into the man I am. You know, it's like that was my last point of failure. You know, I needed to go fail exactly there.
Yep.
And it was very invigorating. I enjoyed the physicality of the work. But I was away from my family so much, and the money, even though it was great, it didn't help, you know. And it's just amazing. I was spending my day today, you know, working on the things that I want to work on. And I don't know what's going to happen, you know, with money in the future, but I know that my life has gotten so much better when I stopped thinking about that and stopped worrying about that and just started really doing what I love. And I mean, how many times have we heard that our whole lives, that you know, you do something you love and you never have to work a day in your life? And it's so true.
And you hit it on the other thing the nail on the head. When you stop thinking about some of those things, when you stop focusing so hard on things that you know, Richard was talking about this, about like addiction, you know, therapy and just with people mentally in general, that like if you think all day about not eating a chocolate chip cookie, it's going to be impossible. You're going to eventually eat the chocolate chip cookie. But like if you think all day about how to eat broccoli and how amazing it is and how crunchy it is, like the chances are higher that you're going to eat broccoli and not the chocolate chip cookie just by the byproduct of it.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that replacement of, you know, is super important, you know, because if you can focus on something else, I mean, we've all had to pee before, and like, you know, and somebody's like, hey, think of something else. And like, it actually works, you know, like it does help, you know, if you can't in the moment, you know? And so like it's a, you know, a great trick, you know, once you can put yourself in a perspective to be able to use those tricks, then it can help you a ton to like, you know, realign your thought process, just even for the moment, you know?
So have you spoken to Richard at all about, does he have any idea that you blocked him, you know, in the past? Has that ever?
I don't know. I've never like come out and been like, yo, bro, I blocked you. But I mean, I've also talked about it on a lot of different streams before. So I mean, it's potential that you might have caught it. But like, I mean, even if it doesn't, like, it's, you know, it's no harm or foul or anything like that. Like,
there's a lot of level of respect. You know, there's you can have a falling out if you get back together the right way. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and the thing about Richard that's, you know, it shows that he actually wants to, you know, is there's, you know, life is full of this nuance. So like you can think someone sucks and still want to help them, you know, like you can still, you know, you can still want to provide value to somebody that rubs you the wrong way. And like you see him trying to do that with people regularly, you know, I mean, that's selfless actions. It's super easy to just be like, whatever, you get it when you get it, you know. And then here he is, to bring back the patience thing, taking the time to go through something he's explained to the people who are watching his streams normally all of it, like 1,000 times. And now here he is doing the same thing in a careful, logical, you know, way to break it down for the next person. And that's, I mean, that's, you know, that's, I mean, we should all hope to aspire to be able to be like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Watching his old stuff versus new stuff, I just, I learned so much about crypto, right? And then I watch his old stuff, and I just I feel more like I made the right decision. Like I know I'm in the right spot, because not only did all of these things happen serendipitously that brought me here, and I'm so grateful, but the man who I admire today is a lot more than what I know of him, and the gentle, more submissive side of him is intriguing to me as the dominant, aggressive side, you know, and because I believe I share those traits. I believe that those closest to me would say that, you know, I could be the most loving, caring person they've ever met, and then also say the opposite of that as well. So I like that duality of somebody. I'm drawn to that, you know, where there's a conflict there. Somebody's polarizing, you know, and Richard is certainly polarizing, and to see, you know, that he's not just one end of the spectrum. He's the complete, you know, my wife and I say this to each other all the time. You're a complete human being. You know, you're not someone that doesn't have the totality of experiences, negative and positive, that a lot of us have. And, you know, when you meet someone that is a complete human, it's like you, Big K, you know, I can tell that's what I mean when I say, like, I know right away, you know, it's a feeling. Like we could have a in-depth discussion about the most fun thing we've ever had, and then talk about a really sad, emotional moment, you know, and that's what, you know, that's what friends do. That's what I want to spend my time with, people that I can be open, be myself with. And Richard, you know, inspires a community of people to do the same. And so,
100%. I mean, like I always say that, like, you know, it's not like this is not evil people, so to say, you know, it's like people are just made up. Like you're a complete human, like you said, and being a complete human means that you make decisions and you have a chance to do the right and the wrong thing in each and every moment, all the time, you know, and like you're like more of like a collection of your decisions, you know, that's really what makes you up. And so like lots of good people make some bad decisions, and some bad people, you know, but I don't like I said, I hate to say bad people, because it's not, mostly it's good people making some more bad decisions than not, you know, and like, that doesn't mean that that's all that they do. There is some love in their hearts for certain things, and they are real, complete humans to some degree. There's parts of them that need serious work, you know, and the decisions that they make are usually the effect of that, you know, that's why that's that problem expressing itself.
Yeah, I see love and attention, education, love and attention and education, right? When I was in jail, when I've been in rehab, when I've been hospitalized against my will, right? There's a group of people that are there that are just like me. They're no better, no worse, but they haven't had the same love that I've had, the same support systems, the same friendships,
Mhm.
and that's why I love going to those groups. I love getting out of myself to help others because I've always thought that if I'm going to be the best if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be the best at it. Well, I might also be the worst at it too, right? So whatever I do, I'm sort of polarizing myself, and I start to get in my own mind and think, terrible thoughts and get stuck there. And then to go to talk to other people and open up myself, but more importantly, to listen to what others have been
Yeah.
through and feel their pain and, come out with some hope because they shared their experience and, it's providing me strength, right? So like these words, these are tenements in my life they're so important. So I
Mhm.
know
Oh,
anyone that's struggling, that's watching now, like I don't say it enough. We used to say it a lot more when I did shows with Maddie, and I used to when I first came on the scene. I like 12-step programs. I like groups. So if anyone's struggling out there right now, with having trouble remaining sober or going through something very difficult, a divorce, and you're alone, you got a new job, things aren't going right, you're in a new city. Don't be afraid to get some help. It's amazing. A year and a half ago, I didn't know where I was going to sleep. I didn't know if anybody was going to care, and it's those groups, it's those rooms, it's those people. It's all just a special, scenario for each one of us to go through. And my path led me here. And, it's through the work of helping others, right? Like that's Big K. Like I'd like to talk to you
Yeah.
more about, what do you have, what inspires you in this space? What are you doing going forward? Because I know that is a big thing for all of us. We all want to do something with each other. We have some plans in mind. But really like
Yeah.
helping others seems to be the paramount tenement that
Central.
we all share,
For sure. Yeah, on that one, like, to close what you're saying, I always say like like I agree with all that 100%. The 12-step stuff, all, like having groups, all that is so important because I mean, a great friend of mine always says this line, and I love it because like everyone thinks their problems are the worst, but if we all put our problems in a pile tomorrow, you would gladly take yours back in a second.
That's for sure.
And that's, I mean, and that's what that 12 step, that's what programs and groups help you to understand is that everybody hurts. Everybody goes through problems and issues. And when you hear other people, some of them are so hard for you to like you couldn't deal with that and you don't want to. And like when you hear that, you realize all the blessings and all the things that you have and how amazing and special your own existence is, and then you see, like you said, ways that you can help people. And that's like the next step to that, like just be realizing that your shit doesn't matter more than or less than anybody else's, and lots of people struggle way harder than you. And then once you go through those steps, then if you're a complete human, then that's the next thing you want to do is, okay, how do I help those people? That's, I mean, at least that's where I go.
Yeah.
And so like going forward in Hex and in the Pulse community and everything else coming up, I mean, I have what drives me. I have a lot of fun things that I want to be a part of. So one of the things that I did early on in the Hex community was Bingo Earth, which is like a charity bingo program we did on live stream, where it all started because when the pandemic happened, the local food soup kitchen that my mother-in-law works for, they do like a drag queen bingo every month at the bar and to like raise money and stuff, and they couldn't do that anymore. It was like stopped, and so like now they have more people to feed and less money to do it. And it was a really tough situation. So I was like, well, why don't we just bring it to the internet? So we started doing bingo on live stream, and half the money would go to them, and half the money will go to whoever's guest I have on is their charity choice. And we did that for a whole year of up until big payday. And then once ETH fees got so high, because if people won, I was giving them back Hex if they wanted to, or they could donate to the charity too. And most people took the Hex, but It was awesome. I have a friend of mine who she played a $10 bingo game, won $50 worth of hex, and it's now worth like $11,000. She staked it out well. It's like, I mean, pretty awesome. You know, like that's a great stories. You know, great stories, and like being able to get charities aboard as well, and have friends care about, and you know, about a charity and express that with me and show that is awesome. It was super fun. If it wasn't for the ETH fees, we'd still be doing it right now. But Pulse is going to allow us to do more of that. You know, so very shortly, you know, once we're live, I'll be announcing that we'll be doing some more bingo awards. So I'll be doing some more charity work to help out with others. I hope to have you on. I hope to have lots of people on.
Oh, for sure.
You know, that are influencers in the community that have a charity in mind that they like to be like to, you know, sponsor and talk a little bit about, and we can hopefully raise some money for them. You know,
awesome.
So like that's one of the things that I really like, and I'm like super about. I grew up like that's a sidebar of like who I am. So I grew up. My mom worked for a nonprofit in Chicago since I was 4 years old, you know, and it's a nonprofit that's specifically focused on helping kids with disabilities and like spinal issues, like spina bifida, cerebral palsy, stuff like that. So there's a lot of mixed. These are kids that have mostly normal brains, but their spines, you know, theirs don't work very well. So there's a lot of therapy involved in it, and I was like, you know, a lot of interaction between normal kids, kids without disabilities and kids with disabilities, and you know, so I grew up around all of that. I grew up around nonprofit stuff, and I think that work is super. I mean, it makes you feel amazing to be a part of. I mean, especially I mean, when most of these kids really wanted nothing more than to just be able to communicate. You know, they just had the hardest time being normal and feeling that way. You know, and so when you could reach them on that level and commune with them, man, it made all the difference to their lives. My life, you know, it was a great thing growing up. So like finding a way that I could be a part of nonprofit work, you know, going forward is definitely a serious like love of mine and something that I'm really into. On a second note, I also like throwing a good party and having a good time. So
yes,
something
you do.
else that I'm into is planning some fun events for us all too. I do. Yeah, I did a little penthouse party for everybody in Vegas, you know, and I like those kinds of things. I really have always excelled at, and always thought you know, there's something about whether it's for the reasons of pain or for the reasons of communing for fun and pleasure. I mean, that's what I'm really all about. You know, like I want to get people together and you know, find the collaborative means between them. You know, because there's a lot of people that have great ideas in this community, and getting them in front of more people to talk about them. And some people might not have a good idea, but might feel super endeared to yours. You know, and so that was my favorite stuff about music events when I was working them. I worked mostly like artist relations and hospitality. It was being behind the scenes with the people that were making the product, the music there, and getting them to collaborate with other ones that were making other kinds of music in new and exciting ways. And usually the best way to do that was to make sure to facilitate all the rest of the things, to make sure it was comfortable and easy, and you know, their ride in was smooth and their place was, and like if you try to help with all that other transitional stuff, then like you can like, you know, I can't guarantee that it's going to be an amazing collaborative time, but I statistically can put enough of the pieces together exactly that we might get some greatness, you know, and like that I really will. I love working hard to like put all the pieces of the puzzle right, so maybe we find some greatness, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool
to
hear.
That too.
I think a lot of us are really drawn to that type of group work, you know, putting the right people together, you know, like that's being a producer of music, of art, creating art, right? That's what it's like. That's what I'm good at. You know what I mean? I'd like to be just on the team because I really like this stuff, but like everybody's a little bit better than me on the team in every aspect of something, you know, and that's because like putting together the team is what's fun, you know? So if you're working on something like multimedia, you know, and you do it and you pull it off and you did it as a team, that feels incredible. That's like playing hockey and winning a championship. You know, it's not like doing something on your own, right? There's success comes in both ways, but when you're on a team, like and in this hectic space, and each one of us is so capable and has all these experiences, these successes and failures, and now we're all here uniting. It's exciting, you know. It's like any one of us could work with any one of the other one of us and do something really awesome. And and there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of us. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And most of us are like doors open kind of people. They are looking for a way, like you said. So like if it's not working with one person, it's with another, and those people are trying their very best to find what works with them and how they can synergize properly. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to see. It really is. I mean, there's so many awesome streams that have come up and group ones that have come up that in the community, just with people that have unique, similar perspectives synergizing. I mean, I love seeing that. I mean, even when it's people that already have their own thing going on, like the Knights guys, the Knights of the Crypto, they all have their own streams doing their own things, and seeing them come together to do something else even more awesome is kick-ass. Like
it's like an all-star game. Like watching an all-star game.
Yeah, it is, and that's like I said, those are those collaborative moments that, like, when they happen properly, you're just, it's if you had any part in making that happen, like I said, whether it was you got so and so the water that they needed, or you ran the cables to make the music, whatever it was that you played that part, you feel proud, and you feel a part of it.
Yeah.
That's what that team feeling does. You're right, there's both types of wins out there. There's I did this, and that's cool too, but like it's way more difficult to get a whole tons of people together and working together on something that they all don't have necessarily the same exact need to be there, but they find some commonality and make it happen. I mean, it's
it's cool.
Like,
that's
a lot of
why
ego breakdowns.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's like being a cutthroat. With RG3, he's saying it's your Discourse Syndicate. That's kind of how I feel. Is like it's RG could totally be taking the spotlight, right, and being doing everything for himself, but he doesn't. He brought us on the scene to stream and supported us and supported me as a friend off stream, helped me, with my setup. Him and Hexo answered some questions when I first started streaming. That went a long way with me, and it's really cool that we're in this environment where we all have this group success through Discourse Syndicate, through Hex, and yet none of us are trying to say me. It's like we come on and we praise each other, and RG especially will, say, hey, it's your Discourse Syndicate. So I think we just have a really great community in the sense that nobody is trying to one up the next guy. Like we'd rather do it together for the most part, for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. For the most part, for sure. And I think that's exactly what, like, I mean, what works, and not only, and like we have a good top-down model in the sense that, like, Richard is the first one to be like, I stream less than everybody. I'm just sitting here, like, y'all are doing all of this. Like, he's the first one to, like, understand that, yes, while I was the one who might have created this, like, this product, like all of the other peripheral things around it, all of this unintended, like I say, like, blowback, but it's not. It's all like collateral good times instead of collateral damage is incredible. I mean, like, there's so many unique little things that have come along from this. I mean, I remember early on when like Richard acknowledged that several people had said, hey, with Hex, like, hey, thanks for making crypto fun again. He's like, I didn't intend to make crypto fun again. I wasn't even trying to make, like, that was not in the design parameters whatsoever. But here we are, all feeling like we're having more fun now than we've had in a long time.
A long time. Yeah. Yeah. It's the reason I'm intrigued by the cult question that Nerd Girl posed is it is so much fun, and it is. We do have a strong leader, and I believe in this like almost nothing I've ever felt before. And I ask about it, the Crossroads. I think every one of us would have to say the answer is yes to the Crossroads, because where else would you be when you get brought this brand new financial instrument that's life changing? I mean, would you not be in a Crossroads and have your mind open to that? If you're just going with the flow of life, can I interrupt your flow of life to explain to you what's wrong with the monetary system? Probably not. So like,
well, and even if you weren't like, I mean, I guess there's probably some whales in the hex system that were whales before hex existed, and it's just another thing on their ledger. Sure, but for the most part, the majority of the people that I've interacted with in the community did not have these kinds of gains before hex came along, and so like. It had to have been a crossroads for most people that have been here for a long time, because your life should probably be a little different now than it was before, like,
Right.
so like, how could it kind of not be, even if you're in a great place in your life and everything else? This is just another thing. I mean, like, I have a feeling that you still feel like there's before and after hex in your life, and those are two different times, and for very, very specific reasons, I mean, whether it be the community that we get or the extra commas on your ledger, there's still a crossroads feeling, and I mean, it's hard to say that, like you said, it's hard for anybody to say no, that's not the case, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe a couple of that already had a bunch of money. Yeah, sure.
I've found other communities in my life before where I've come home and my parents, or probably most of them my parents. I don't think I was married at the time, so I would be as excited as I am now in hex. But maybe the goals, the focus of the community wasn't to better anybody really, and so I've never been able to get the feedback from those closest to me that I am in fact making the right decision, that I am in the right place, that they're really intrigued by the passion that I'm displaying and the energy I have. And, so I would think if this were something I should be watching out for, right? Like, my best friend would tell me, my wife would tell me, my parents would tell me, my nephew would tell me, all these so different people are just so different in my life. All those people that I mentioned, yet everybody is supportive of this community, of me, of Richard, to hear my dad, he's 85. I think he's just about to be 86. Anyways, he's 85, 86. He's watching Gerardo's video and sending me, who is this guy? He's great. And Gerardo's he's a young guy. He's not a young kid, but he's a young guy. And it's just, I love my dad. He loves hockey too. The Bruins are his absolute favorite. When the season ends, I feel terrible for him because I don't know what he's going to do. And he didn't miss a beat this year with the hockey season ending. He's texting me the next day with questions about hex, and it's incredible. It's the positive feedback I'm getting from those closest to me is there's just so many levels to what's great. Making money's great. The community, living a healthy lifestyle, getting the feedback from those closest to me that I'm spending my time doing something that's beneficial to not only myself but the community at large is, I sometimes feel like when I get on stream that someone's paying me to come on here and be like, this is so great, because that's all I do. It's like,
well, the social capital that you're gaining from it all, like how you feel mentally, and there's capital that you're gaining from that. Like you're a healthier, better person every time you do that, instead of doing something that's less positive for your life. So like you do get something out of it, and it's just, I mean, like, and it doesn't even have, like, it doesn't have to be dollars. We got that covered somewhere else,
right?
It's great. I mean, like, awesome feeling, man.
Yeah, for me, it's been life-saving. Obviously, the gains are secondary to my mental health, and delaying gratification has brought an increase in my positive behavior, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Right? Like I can't say enough about the community at large, and then I've said it so many times about the gains being secondary to the community. That might sound crazy to somebody that's just tuning in, that's trying to find out about hex. Are you kidding? Are you lying? Are you delusional? And no, can you put a price on your mental health? Can you put a price on happiness? I've had, I won't say all the money in the world. I've had all the money I could hope for. And that wasn't enough. I lived a terrible, selfish life. And now, by just opening up my mind, by having nothing to start, but by just opening up my mind, being a contributing member to the community, the world has opened up. And it's just like everyone always told me, when the time is right and you're ready, it will happen. And it took 39 years for me, and but I'm so thankful and grateful to be here. And I'll say it again, that the best part of the Hexagon experience is being a team member, is to be a Hexagon. It's not my checking account. It's not my bank account.
No, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think that I have nothing but agreement for that sentiment. I mean,
you got to argue that point back to me, Big K. You got to argue the point back. It's
I can try, man. I mean,
it's not that good, no.
But there's really, I mean, you're right though. It is that good for us at least. Like I said, I mean, don't get me wrong. The dollars, I think Richard has even started to bring this up too. That when you have the finances covered, you can think a little more clearly. Like mentally speaking, you gain more IQ when your mind isn't spending, its time going over which bill should I pay, shouldn't I pay. That does help a lot, but you're right that there's a lot of ways to make money in this world, and just because you have a bunch of it doesn't fix the problems. And I can tell you that, as somebody who has I have a 9-month-old baby right now who just has some teeth coming out and just doesn't want to sleep through the night, is any amount of money gonna fix that for me right now? No, that doesn't. I'm up in the middle of the night with the boy. That's all there is to it, I got to deal with that on its as is, So a lot of times money is not the fix to the problem. I can tell you that having a bunch, and most of the time, if you're not careful, it can actually be the other way where, people all the time are throwing the money at a problem when really what the problem needs is like I said, an ego check, somebody coming to the table with some respect for somebody else, giving someone time. Most people want, especially your kids, man, they RG3, I'm going to say an RG3 quote, man, kids spell love T-I-M-E. That's how they spell it, because you want to give them and show them love. It's not stuff. It's not things. It's your time, man. It's that's what really matters. So if you're doing it in a positive way and you have extra amounts of it, then that's kick ass. But because that's what actually matters, we're super blessed that we get to have more of our time back to us. And so using it properly and in positive ways is the best thing,
Yeah, it's almost too it's I'm not used to having that, right? Where something's usually wrong if it's not wrong, I'll make it wrong. To have everything sort of just be working is very not common in my life, and I guess I feel a little guilty sometimes that we have this ability to do whatever we want with our time. And so I want to make sure that I am creative and that I do have goals to help others. And lately I've been feeling pretty selfish because I've been thinking so much about sacrifice and what I'm going to do for my family. And, what am I going to do for work? And everybody's doing all these things. What am I going to do? I'm starting to get my ego back, and it's not good. It's not who I want to be. It's the guy I used to be. I don't have anything to prove to anybody anymore. And I need to remember that, I need to relax and have a good time,
It's true. I mean, and crypto does some of that where you do have to, your keys are uniquely yours, so there is some appreciation for the ego in this, it's got to be there. But in the sacrifice period, the nice thing I will say is a more positive thing about the whole situation is that this competitive time in it when we're going through this is very short-lived. And so the time, this moment where we're all, a lot of us are focused a lot more on what is my stack looking like and how is my stack going to get me to where I need to be and what level of risk and tolerance do I want to put on the table right now. It's very personal, sure. But I will say that I think that's, like I said, short-lived in the sense that, when Pulse launches, then there's going to be a whole new playground of our own Ethereum for us to do a lot of amazing things on. And I think there'll be a lot of ways and places for us to dedicate our time in synergistic ways, again, that aren't going, I think that this competition is fun sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but it's great that it's short lived. Because I think that you don't have to worry that we're going to be doing the mine thing forever. I think soon we'll be way more focused on, because once Pulse launches, then it's going to be a matter of us making sure to explain how it works to people and why it is the better to people, and there's going to be a lot of awesome ways to do that together. I think that I can understand where you're coming from. 100%. That's been a huge focus. What I'm doing, although I have also spent a lot of time on helping a lot of people out that on my onboards as well through it. But I will say that I like it, and I also don't. I like a little competition. But I have to. I'm also the kind of person that doesn't like to grind. I don't like grindy video games or things like that, because I want to hang it up, man. I just want to have we play the game and then enjoy ourselves afterwards. That was something that hockey was great, because in the later times of my high school and that all the teams that I played for all got along really well, and wanted to go and drive around and goof around afterwards, and that was that team building was super cool, in a way that was different than just exactly. So yeah, that's I think it's only short lived. I don't don't worry too much about. Don't stress too much about it, brother.
Well, it's a funny dynamic to be on stream, to be a streamer, and then. But first and foremost, be a fan, right? To be a Hexican, right? I'm a fan of Richard, of RG, of Hexo, of the Cutthroats, of you, of everybody. I'm first and foremost a fan. Then I'm spending my time to contribute on stream, and so I'm conflicted in a sense sometimes, because I know as a fan, I want to hear the dirt, I want to hear the deep stuff, I want to hear what you guys say behind closed doors, and I want to know that stuff. And that's what Hex was. There was no closed door. It's you come into the Discourse Syndicate, and it's raw, and you hear people's real opinions. You don't hold back, and I really like that. So as we're going, this is my first time going through the launch of a coin that I believe in, and it's awkward, because I want to share for everybody what everyone's doing, because I want the little guy to be informed. But in my limited experience, I understand now that there's potential to harm people, because maybe my full message doesn't get received. So if I say my whole strategy, maybe somebody only targets part of it and then does that, and maybe they end up losing, and then maybe they're upset with me because I said these things on stream. And so it's a catch-22, because I want to hear this stuff. At the same time, I don't want anybody to be upset that, hey, XO Joe said the whales are going to do this, and so I love one Friday, you guys, on Cabana's stream, you gave your approaches to the sacrifice, and I've heard, I've talked with RG, I've talked to Nerd Girl, we've had many streams where we do it. I just want to kind of comment on the taboo subject that this is, because it's the elephant in the room. I don't want to tune into a Hex stream and have you not give me the goods, right? When gas prices.
I understand that.
Yeah, when gas
I
prices
understand
were
all
going
that
up,
100%.
We were maybe not going to talk about it, because it's uncomfortable. It's just stop complaining, dude. Stop complaining. But those complaints, maybe they fell on ears that hurt us, because now something's happening, right? So I kind of like to have these discussions, because I don't think the whale's better at playing this game than us. I think they're just lucky, right? So I want to say what I know they're going to do, and I'm not going to do that right now. I don't have something to unveil, but the reason I wanted to say what I think they're going to do is because it is like a video game. And once you tell the person that I know that cheat code, now you got to come up with another cheat code, buddy, because I know that one.
Yep.
And so I'm just hoping to kind of expose these ideas about what the whales might do, what they won't do. But if you're watching at home, this is certainly not financial advice. I am not the person you get financial advice from. So with all that
Yeah, me
disclaimer
either.
said.
I say a lot of things, and like, but I always try and say it with that same like. I'm not. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of goofiness that we say. I'm trying to give you people the best take on it, and I don't try and like I don't try and hold that much back. I really don't. I don't find that I mean, if you listen to the things I'm saying, I'm usually pretty straightforward with how I feel about it. If there was some reason why I felt like there's something that needed to be not spoken about, I mean, it would be tough for me because like when somebody asks me about it, like I'm not gonna like just completely avoid it unless I feel like it's seriously detrimental to myself or others. I'm gonna try and reason it out and like work through, but like I don't have to necessarily give exactly what I'm gonna do to give you the potentials. Here's this side of it, here's that side of it, here's what could happen this way, here's what I think could happen that way. Because I mean, everything's it's all these probabilistic things. Richard talks. It's like recently has brought that up, kind of offhandedly a bunch, where you got to like do the probability of this being more likely than that, and like based on that, you have to make some of your decisions because like not every like. Oftentimes you're making decisions without all the information, in life. That's just how things go. And you still have to use what you do have in front of you to hopefully make the best informed decision you can. And like, I'm not here to try and keep like that from like, I'll walk down the logic path with everybody because I don't think that, it's like the TA trading thing. As soon as somebody learns how to do the one kind of thing and, the one trading thing is a thing, then the market changes. And that isn't what happens, And so I'm not trying to tell people like, this is how it's going to go, because it could very easily go the other way, and let me also tell you about what happens if that happens. And in my mind, because I could also be totally wrong and be missing something. Several times we go through that where I'm like, oh, what happened? If this is how it's going to go, then this is what I see happening. And then Richard changes that, the pulse is different or whatever, like that's so a lot of this stuff is all armchair quarterback kind of, like stuff.
Exactly.
I'm not a, like I said, I have a rough understanding of how to read code. I'm not a coder. So like, I have a rough understanding of how to build, like I have a good understanding how to build computers and the hardware side of things, how to run software. But like I do that for a living, and I'm not trying to get quizzed on that, like, with like a hard test here or anything like that anytime soon. So like if that's what you really need and to like feel confident with anything that's going on here, then you might want to like hire somebody that's a master of this stuff to give you a better perspective if that's what you have to have. Because like I'm just a dude who's telling you I have this degree that might be useful. I have this background in mining. Maybe because of that you can gain some knowledge from me, but I could be just as easily wrong tomorrow, about it, about a lot of things, I'll admit it too. I remember when I did the math because of something somebody read about, like, oh, there's only going to be 21 million T-shares ever. It's like Bitcoin, man, as many as there ever is. And then like on big payday, there was way more because of, the staking that happened, and I was like, oh, I'm totally wrong. Sorry guys. My numbers were completely off and I feel silly now. Like, But like again, I'm not asking someone to take down the stream where I said that or anything like that. I'm just gonna be as on the moments as I can be, and hope that people get something useful out of it.
Big K, because there's always going to be, now that this bar has been set by our community, there's always going to be new fresh blood, new hexagons that want to come in that have energy and drive and creativity. They'll pick up the ball and run with it. And they're going to do it without any expectation of anything in return, because that's where we set the bar, right? So I'm really have this analogy in my mind, like we're watching a sports event, like the UFC or the Stanley Cup Finals, and we're commentary, right? And so we're providing the dialogue that if you were at home watching it with your buddy, you'd be talking about. So I hope everybody understands that. I speak very freely. Sometimes I preface it with, this is not financial advice, but none of us.
That is a great analogy. That's a super great analogy, man. I really like that, because I mean, that is exactly what's going on. And how often have you watched a sports game and yelled at the announcers? Like that guy doesn't know what he's
Right.
talking about, or you know whatever. Like we've all done that, you know. So like I guarantee that you'll yell at me one time and from your spit out your cereal and stand up and be like, he's wrong, I'm idiot, you know. And like you're probably right, man. I'm definitely not a master of everything, and you know, and I try and stay in my lane as best I can, and then be honest when I don't know. But a lot of what we're talking about here is I mean, it's a speculative market, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's speculative, and you know why I tuned in the first place was to get help, was to hear opposing views on things, so I could navigate through the space, you know. And so I am only one person. My bag is not a top 1,000 person bag. I doubt. So I'm not a market maker. I'm not a whale. I'm not doing anything. But I love games, and I love our community, and I love, you know, these new experiences that we're all sharing together. And so I feel it's our duty and our responsibility to have these discussions, right? Like if you have a super secret thing that like you and your boys are doing and you're going to execute at this moment, then I get it. That's cool. But like, I don't know. This is happening. The sacrifice phase is going. I think it didn't start like I anticipated. So I think the whales front ran us in those first 5 days, where they just did what I thought they were going to do one step earlier. And so now I want to comment on that. I want to say kudos, whale, for doing that. You front ran us. So now what do you do with this next one? You know, because now you gave us the rope-a-dope. Now everybody's afraid. Everyone's, you know, I see, not everybody. I see newer Hexicans and some people that don't have the sized bags, perhaps, that some of the rest of us do, that are concerned about what's happened and what's just gone on, and feel like they've failed, you know, because they didn't put all their money in the first 5 days. And I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of this, but I just want everyone to know neither did I. You know, I didn't put my money in the first 5 days, all of it. And I'm not worried, and I'm not freaking out. I'm having a good time, and I'm, you know, helping other people. I'm working. I'm trying to be creative. You know, I just want to kind of hopefully put everybody at ease out there that's watching. Like, nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know until the whole thing's over who made the right decisions, you know. But I also don't think there's any. Go ahead.
I mean, like, I think that, boy, that is a lot. That's a lot to think about, you know. But I think that like that everybody, that the variance between putting in at what's our low of we put in at 7 cents versus 20 cents, and you know, because I guess there was a moment where you could have one TWAP where you could have sacrificed and really ate shit on it, you know. That was just one, you know.
It was first 5 days too, so you would have been making a good choice, you know, perhaps, and and then somebody came and then now you
exactly, and so like, but you know, I went pretty hard in the paint on day one of Hex, right? And by a scale, I was off way more than people were that sacrificed at 7 cents versus 20. You know, like,
that's a great analogy. I haven't heard anyone say that, Big K. I didn't know that there was that much of a variance first day compared to day 33. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a huge variance. I mean, the day 33 there was like 200 ETH in the pot, and day one there was like 21,000 ETH in the pot. So like, wow, like put in a lot to get a very little. You know, like I think I mean like I'll give you numbers or something. I think it was like a lot of ETH to get like only a couple million coins. You know, and then at like, what was it, 3 days later, you could put in 1 ETH and gotten those couple million coins. So like you could feel really bad in that moment. And I did. I mean, like, there's part of me that was like, oh, damn. But here's the thing is, like, I had dedicated like a year prior to that, like almost a year prior to understanding the system. So like when it came out, I understood it. And obviously, like, part of the growth of the first year of Hex was all of us influencers really learning the system even more in depth, and then relearning it, and then finding all these intrinsic properties that we weren't expecting and learning about those. And you know, there's several different things that changed in all of our minds, and we all worked at that together, changing it. And you had to fight through. You know, that's like I say all that in like this big cyclical coming together kind of thing that and I had to fight through the FUD of myself, of the pain of myself, like how dumb I was for doing what I thought was like insane, like a scale of 10 factor wrong, for over the first month, but I continued to put in, and I continued to dollar cost average. And like I said, I was working at the time and kept putting in what I could over a long time, the whole first, the whole mostly adoption amplifier phase. And like in the end, it really didn't matter. Even though my biggest chunk at once was put in that first couple days, and that would like seemed like, oh man, wow, was I wrong, But here we are, not even a year and a half later, and like even if you put your whole stack into day one, you're still stoked. And you didn't sell, and you staked your stuff out properly, you're stoked right now. You're doing just fine, because 4,000x trumped the 10x that I was off. Like it trumped it way. I mean, even though I only got a 400 instead of the 4,000x on those coins because of that. Like, okay, I'm still, that's great. That's groovy. We're great here, So like that, in that regard, people have to understand the multiple, like the being in is still better than not being in the sense that like when things go up a lot, you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be waiting, because like if you wait to get an extra 20% or 30%, a better buy, and then the price of something 10x's or 100x's, well, now you have 100x less than you would have had before if you had just like made the call to put in even some of what you were going to put in, So it's tough because it's perspective, in the moment, these numbers matter, like, oh, whether I get 10,000 points or I only get 5,000 points per dollar or whatever matters a lot to us right now. But like in the end, it really that's not the what really matters is the same thing that Richard's been talking about from the beginning of this is like, did you hold on to that? Did you not sell, at a 2x, or did you did you like do what like the system, what the other things you're supposed to do in the system and next stake, then if you did, then you probably were just fine, like by the numbers, everyone that did that is like not just fine, they're incredibly fine, they're fantastic, in the moment it might have seemed like it mattered and it was the game to play at the time, but we're still all so few in number playing this game that like, just being here, you should be stoked. Just knowing that the sacrifice thing exists, period, you should feel stoked that you know about it and are making the decision to buy in. Because like there's a lot of people, just like how many people, like there's people that interview Richard regularly that are like, yeah, I had Bitcoin on, and I knew about Hex. Yeah, I didn't free claim. And like that kid, that the Martini guy that like said it the other day, he was like, yes, I do have a couple Skeeter bikes, Rock, Edison. I'm out at the beach here. They murdered me last night. But yeah, that's why I'm itching down here. But yeah, that's exactly, those part of it all was, realizing that you're not as late as you think. Bitcoin is exactly that. I'll tell this story all the time. I can remember so clearly when I like once I got onto that Poloniex and I started realizing what Bitcoin was, and after the Monero, like after I got in from Monero, I remember like not like physically abusively, angrily yelling at my wife, but like yelling like out of frustration, being like, I fucking missed it, man. And Bitcoin was at $583. And I'm like, I missed it. I should have been here 5 years ago. I missed it. It's all over now. I should have known. I'm so stupid. And like, look at it now, like I didn't miss anything, and neither did anybody else. And like, just because like you didn't get the number one spot in the game that you're playing right now doesn't mean that just by playing the game, you're not going to be very, very, very happy. Like you got to have a bigger perspective for that kind of stuff. Richard's not trying to make a game to like wreck people either. Like he wasn't trying to do this to like be like, oh, you know what? Anybody that sacrificed in day 6, well, they're gonna get fucked. Fuck them forever. Like that's not the intentions of any of this whatsoever. So I'd relax, y'all. Everything's gonna be fine. I think that there's some excitement and people feel different about Pulse than Hex because of all the unknown intangibles. there is a difference between a fully launched product and, you know, a network that is coming to be. You know, those are different.
Something that will always be a project. You know, a pulse will always be a project.
Yeah, it's always going to be in work. You know, and that's there's benefits to that too. I mean, each of them have their own, you know, strengths and weaknesses. You know, so I mean, I think that, but I don't think that that like everyone should get their panties in a bunch. Like, I think it's going to be just fine. I think be excited about where we're going. You know, be excited that there's so much money has gotten involved in this. I mean, somebody was just giving the numbers the other day. They're like, the Ethereum crowd sale raised like, what was it, 18 million or something like that. You know, like,
wow.
like yeah. So think of how much further this the market is, and how much of a running head start we're going to get, you know, with what we have, like with the people, the backing, the amount of entities interested in this. You know, it's incredible. You should all feel super lucky that we're here. You know, I mean, I do, at least I do.
I'm happy you said that, Big K, because I think a lot of people need to hear that. You know, I know I feel that way, and I hope a couple people that are listening to that I talk that are having some tough times throughout this process, I hope you hear us loud and clear. I've been thinking about something. Go ahead.
I mean, and like, you know, there's still like, this game is still like longer in the sense that like if people understand, now this is something like to understand the game going on in sacrifice phase, in like a little bit more in depth, in the sense of like who the players are, they need to worry about the different positions of the game. There's really like the volume days, the first 2 weeks of this whole volume thing was for people who have large stacks to try and compete with each other. If you aren't those people, then the best time, you know, for the multiplier bonus that you can get with having a small bag is the last 3 days, because of the set multiplier. I mean, now I'm not, it's hard to know because of price and everything else, but if you're going to get a 1.75x on your stack that you get at the later time, then like the price has to go up, you know, that like has to go down almost double for you to not, you know, get, you know, a good, like to be where you would have been if you just sacrificed with the prices up higher than day one, you know. So it's not, I mean, even that is like this, I think that a lot of people don't fully understand what was going on with those two different phases, and like where they should be on, like, and why they should be there. So, and like, and again, even though they don't, and some people did, and some people took advantage of it, and some people didn't, there's like, that's, again, I don't find, if you already sacrificed and did it in a bad spot, don't feel upset about it. If you are still planning on sacrificing and the price is too low for you right now or something from where you thought it was before, again, understand that, like, look at your if you're a whale, you know, and somebody huge that's out there, then like then I'm not really talking to you. I'm mostly speaking to the people who don't you know, who don't have like millions of dollars in the bag and are planning on this being a very important piece of that in their existence. That they have still a very good opportunity. You know, if they haven't put in yet, I highly recommend. And again, I'm not, no financial advice, not a financial advisor. I look at the last 3 days because of the extra bonus that you'll get on your stack. Because like if you're a small fish and you're going to get less than that, you know, you're going to be closer to the 1x on the volume participation phase than what? Why would you even bother at this point in time? But again, that's all like. So
Big K, let me ask you a question. Hex Live and I were talking today, and we were unclear about the first days other than the last 3 with the volume multiplier. So do you have to actually be one of the top addresses to receive that multiplier in the first 14 days, but in the last 3 or
yes,
I'm sorry,
the
last 3 you get given automatically, but you have to earn it in the other spots.
The volume game is over on the last 3. So if you want to participate in the earning it by putting in more, then you have to do that in the first 14 or 15 days.
The last 3 days are not included in that.
Not included in that, exactly. So it's like, if you're playing that game, make sure to have all your stack in before those last 3 days if you're trying to jump a level on somebody or something. And then even from there, it's like, the first dollar of the biggest guy's stack actually gets the 2.5x, and then every dollar it's divided out evenly across all of them, over time. So like the second dollar gets the next division down, so it'll be like a 2.499x or something like that, and then the next dollar will get 2.4998x, all the way down. So like because of that dynamic and the amount of money that's put in up at the top, like most of the smaller people are going to get closer to a 1.4 or down anyways, like X down anyways, so like that's why, again, if you are a smaller participant, putting in on the last days would be better, just because you're going to get, it's your bonus is going to be 1.75, which is very good, and it really will do an amazing job at counteracting if you're down 50% in price from the high. Let's say we go from 20 cents to 10 cents, it's now around 50% of the price, but you get 1.75x of your stack. So like you're getting, it's not quite there, because you'd need a 2x at 50% to get you back to the 100% that you would have gotten earlier, but it's right. Close, so you're not, it's not like you're screwed or like, you don't, people, like I said, this part of the game is a level of minutia that only matters now. And like a year or two from now, we'll look back at the price and be like, oh, none of that. Like same thing with the adoption amplifier. Oh, that really didn't matter. It's only to swing our dicks around in front of other hexagons. Everybody looking outside in on us just wishes that they participated in any day of the adoption amplifier. If everybody listening could go back and put in only on day one today, they would do it. If that's the only one you could go and redo, I would do it, in a second, So
Big K, you familiar with trampolines? You ever heard of a double jump on a trampoline? You know what that is?
Yes.
So if anybody that's at home, if you're not familiar with jumping on a trampoline, right? If Big K and I are jumping, right? And all of a sudden Big K lands right before I do. And then I come down. So he's compressed the mat, right, to drive up right as I land. So he double jumps me, right? So his weight, right, his energy helps push into my energy and double jumps me. I don't know what's going to happen, right? But I think if I was a whale, after just watching the first thing, I would double jump as my next move, right? So I would make it so the next time the guy dumps it, I'm going to dump it even harder. The next time the guy drives it up, I'm going to drive it up even harder. So I'm looking forward to the next time that we see this monumental exchange. There's deviation in price that's just outstanding that happens in minutes. I think it's going to be much more dynamic next time, right? And I think you're going to see multiple whales go in on it rather than just one. So I just wanted to see what you thought of that.
I think that there's more to come. I mean, like there's like I've talked about it with Big Payday. I like that idea a lot. And I think that, because things are reflexive, that you'll see something like that happen. And the best ways that I could predict if there is going to be more like a price pump coming along here or dump, either or, is by the little microcosms that exist in all of this. There is this microcosm that existed in the first 5 days. There's this microcosm that exists in the middle days where price is going up and people are getting less for their money in the volume phase, and whales are doing what I had said I thought was going to happen, and suppressing that price as much as possible. And then there's this next microcosm, those 3 days you're talking about, when it doesn't really behoove them to suppress the price at all because the game is over, And then there's this next microcosm that's really interesting to me, which is where the narrative changes. The sacrifice phase ends and we're waiting for mainnet, And in that next climate that we have, like, you could see some really good price appreciation because it's the last chance for people to be able to buy before we know when the snapshot date is. People will want to still buy Hex to have it on both chains.
Yep.
There's that, like, so that is another little place where, again, it doesn't behoove whales to suppress price or anything at that point in time. They're not playing any games. So, but they might want more of the hex that's possible to get, because this is their last chance to get p hex from having hex, and that's going to be an interesting. I really think that might be a catalyst for some movement, because I think that from the way Richard has explained the liquidity balancing that happens as soon as mainnet launches, with the PRC20 tokens and Pulse, there will be less PRC20 tokens of each kind available. So whatever you see in the liquidity pools on the Ethereum, like on Hex side right now, there will be less of that available on the PHEX side. So because of that, like if you want to have PHEX, then you might want to buy the thing that's going to give it to you for free now, instead of competing for a smaller pool of it on a different network that hasn't been used yet, that we don't know of exactly the tools that will be able to be used and how built out they'll be on day one.
Right.
We know the tools that are built out now. You just buy on Uniswap, Matcha, or 1inch. It's right there, super easy. So like I think that's a dynamic that we could see as being. And then the last, of course, dynamic is once everything happens, like the difference between snapshot date and mainnet. I hope that, like I said before, I really would love to see Richard never announce a snapshot date and just have them. Like,
I agree.
could be in this time, but that's because I think that it's a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of moment, and I don't think that the mainnet launching as a sell the rumor or sell the news as the snapshot date happening. But again, that's all. Like I said, that's all. Who knows, man? Who knows? They're all there's a potential that we continue to work downward because we went up so much recently. I mean, that's normally what we do. We go up a lot and then we come back down. That's okay.
Yeah, so prepare for extreme volatility. It's crypto. Nothing's going to change. We got 80 to 95% dumps. They happen multi-times per year. We just saw over a 60% dump the other day. DCAing in, talk to the community. Discourse Syndicate, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights. We got Cabana Crypto Happy Hour on Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where you'll see Big K. Big K, we got to wrap up here. We got RG starting up Discourse Syndicate now. So on Twitter, you're at Big Kurkowski, right? All spelled out?
Yep, at Big Kurkowski. You had no space like I have here, but and then same thing on Telegram at Big Kurkowski. Bingo.earth will be back up real soon. We'll be doing that as well. There's a Telegram group for that too. Awesome. I do have a little fantasy football hexagon group that we've done before. That's going to start. We'll start that up again here real soon.
Can't wait for that. You didn't forget about me, right?
To get on. No, sir. Everybody that was in the league before gets first picks on it. And I do have another set of coins staked from pre-big payday from last year. If there was another group of people that wants to do another league too, so we can add more if we want. If the hexagons are out there want to be a part of it, then we can add more to it too. So
that's awesome.
Fun, exciting times to come. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me, Big K. I could talk to you, for the next few hours for sure. It's always fun hanging out.
Of course, man. Dude, thank you for having me. This is a total blast, man. I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. And thank you, everybody, for being here. We got next Monday, Blue Bum will be joining me. So please tune in for that. We're looking forward to talking to him. RG3 will be firing up Discourse Syndicate if it hasn't happened already. I'll see you guys in the chat room. And if just last thoughts, just relax for the sacrifice, right? Go with Markable with what he says, right? Sack and chill.
Sack and chill, man. That's why I went out to the beach house, man. I'm here to relax. I got no keys on me right now. We're just chilling,
Awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you over at the Discourse Syndicates Monday night show. Someone's called it the Monday Night Hangout. All right, we'll see everybody in a few minutes. And thank you guys. Take care, Big K.
Catch y'all later.